What's poppin' YouTube, it's King Bro coming back at you again with another video, and today we're discussing why your hair stopped growing. Alright, now let's be real about the situation. A lot of y'all are becoming more mature in your hair journey. You're starting to understand more about your hair, so I don't have to baby step you through everything. So I can flat out tell you that your hair never actually stops growing. It just gives the appearance that it stopped growing because there's something that you're doing or you're not doing that's putting you in this position. And that's what we're gonna talk about today. So now that we got that out the way, let's get into it. Why your hair stopped growing, King Bro, let's go.
This what I'm finna say, y'all. Whoever ain't with this, don't even ask me for that.
I swear, like every other week is somebody asking me like, yo, bro, I feel like my hair's not growing. What am I not doing? What should I do? What advice you got? And I'm like, yo, I did a video. I did like 12 videos on why your hair could not be growing. And sometimes I just want somebody to say something. You just want me to say something. Like the person who wants to lose weight knows they need to hit the treadmill, but sometimes it's good just having an advocate in your corner telling you, hey, listen, go at it. You got it. Do like this, da 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 da. So I'm gonna be that person for you, all right? So let's get into it. Why your hair stopped growing? I think it's one main reason that I'm seeing with a lot of guys out here that it's not really prevalent amongst guys. I don't hear people talking about it enough, right? So I'm gonna make sure it stays in conversation, okay? One reason why your hair may not be growing enough, the main reason I feel like is, drum roll please, you got split ends and you need a trim. You know what I'm saying? You got split ends and you need to trim them split ends so that you can grow your hair, man. Because we tired of seeing you with the same fro. Same fro. Your two-strand twist been the same length for 8 months. That should never happen. Never happen, alright? Ain't that much shrinkage in the world, brother. So let me give you something that can help you out. You need a trim, alright? But before we get into the trim, let's start off with the split ends, understanding all that about split ends in case you didn't know. So I want to start by answering the question. Why do split ends stop your hair from growing or make your hair look like it's not growing? Rather. And to do that, I have to actually explain what split ends are. So I want you to imagine you have one hair strand. At the very end, the tip of that hair strand, pause, that one hair strand begins to divide into two separate and weaker hair strands. Now, along with those two separate hair strands becoming weaker, they're also less prone to curl. They're a lot harder to moisturize. They get tangled a lot faster, and they just look overall thinner than your natural hair, the rest of your healthy hair, rather. And if you want to know more about split ends, you can really Google it, and you'll see all types of stuff about getting tangled and fairy knots, and it goes deep, but I'm just here to discuss the basics. So when you get this first little split end, it's all cool and gravy, but what happens over time is much more important. What happens is that little divide in the hair strand starts creeping all the way down to the base of the hair shaft. Now, depending on how you take care of your hair and what regimen you have, this length of time is undetermined, but it will happen. It will work its way down to the base, and once it gets to the base, it's over. That hair strand is more than likely gonna just fall out, causing you to have one less hair strand. Now, if you were to take that one happening and put it all amongst your hair strands, and you have several hundred pieces of hair breaking down, splitting in two, and becoming weaker and drier and more tangled over time, and then you add 6 months to that, you can imagine what that person's hair would look like. It would not look good. It would not look healthy. It would not look full. That's just a bad situation. Hold up 1 second. I wanted to point something out and make an idea obvious to you guys. You ever wonder why when people get locks, their hair just seems to grow so fast, man? It's like a year later, you can get locks. One day they at your ear, the next year they're literally at your shoulders, down your back. It just seems like it's so easy to really grow your hair long when you got locks. It's because people with locks don't really have to suffer the same fate as people without locks when it comes to split ends. You see, when you have split ends and you have locks, let's just say the hair splits into two weaker strands, right? All the way down to the root, and then it disconnects from the hair. When you have locks, even though that hair is disconnected, it's still attached to another piece of hair that is attached to your scalp. You're not able to tell that it's actually splitting, you know what I mean? And assuming that you take at least moderate care of your hair, then a lot of the hair that you have is still attached, and then that's, as long as that's healthy and you're not all thinning at one time, you're good, you know what I'm saying? People with locks are basically carrying around all the hair that would have otherwise broken off if they didn't have locks, you feel me? So next time you see somebody with hair down their back, you know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying that locks are like by any means cheating the game, because a lot of them are dedicated. It's a whole spiritual situation, you know what I mean? And I respect people with locks for that commitment. But more than likely, when you see somebody with locks that are down their back, they're at their navel, they're at their butt, what's happening is the hair that's actually touching their back is probably not connected to the actual scalp. It's probably just entangled with another piece of hair that's entangled with another piece of hair that's actually the hair that's connected to their scalp. And that's why people with locks get such long hair fast. So basically, there's no subtraction. They're not losing anything. It's only growth, you know what I'm saying? As opposed to me or somebody that gets braids braids or you walk around in an afro, the hair that you lose actually comes out of your hair. You know what I mean? Like all the hair that you get when you be tangling that comes out in the comb, you get locks, you keep that hair. All the hair that might be shedding and whatnot, just different situations, you keep all that hair when you have locks. That's why it seems that people with locks, hair grows faster. And what's even crazier than that, you can actually see split ends in somebody's beard. Like, you ever seen a beard that's like thick right here, but then as it gets past right here, you can kind of see through it? Yeah, that's because the beard has split ends. Yes, you can get split ends in your beard, so it might be good to trim that beard a little bit to shape it up, because you want to keep it dark, full, and thick. That is, of course, if you can grow it, because not all of us have enough beard hair to have split ends. So having split ends on your beard in itself is an accomplishment. Y'all know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. All right, so in case you actually wanted to stop split ends, understand that there is no way to stop split ends. It's just that if you go out into harsh weather, you know, a cap touches your hair, you rub your hands in your hair, just your hair touching your hair, it's impossible. You're gonna get split ends eventually. But what you do to protect and maintain your hair, and what you don't do to protect and maintain your hair, is gonna have a big effect. How long that takes, you know, you could develop split ends over, you know, 2 weeks, and they just compound from there. Or it could take you 6 months for you to really have to get a trim because of split ends. So here are 3 things that you can do to slow the occurrence of split ends. Number 1, moisturize your hair. Listen to me. If you're OG on this channel, then you heard me say this before. Dry hair doesn't grow, it breaks. You cannot afford to have your hair dry and just be putting hats on it, you know, doing all this crazy stuff with it, man. Dry hair is the enemy. So you want to moisturize it properly. You don't gotta over moisturize it. You don't gotta deep condition every day. You don't gotta put cream in your hair every day. But you have to be able to look at your hair and tell, when is it moisturized, when is it dry. You have to spend enough time with your hair to know what it looks like for your hair type. You don't want to touch your hair too much. You know, I know some of you guys are at the point where you get manicures now, but not all of us are as sophisticated as you are, right? So if you've been biting your fingernails and you know you got those little cuts and stuff and it's uneven nails and it's like, you know what I'm talking about, and you in there playing with your hair, twisting and man, listen, you are gonna lose a lot of hair. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's the hardest to get out of the afro phase, because the afro phase, when your hair's just out, is the time when you want to pull it down and just be picking with it and just doing all types of stuff with it. That is why it seems like a lot of guys who get into that afro stage, that messy curly hair fro, never get enough hair to actually transition out of it. They mess with the hair too much. So that's number 2. Number 1, you don't want dry hair. Number 2, stop touching your hair, leave it alone. And number 3, do not, OG, say it with me. If you're OG on this channel, say it with me. Do not raw dog your pillow, all right? Do not raw dog your pillow, all right? This mic isn't actually on or connected to anything, but I'm speaking to it for cinematic effects. Do not raw dog your pillow, you understand me? Do not put your head, your bare head, on a pillow, a cotton pillowcase. Do not do it. Your hair will snag. The interwoven fibers of the cotton fabric in that pillow are genetically designed to ensure that your hair does not grow, all right? That's not really how it works, but just understand, you keep raw dogging your pillow, that pillow is gonna pull all the moisture. It's gonna suck up all the grease, all the product, all the water, all the hard work you put into your hair, and it's gonna be in that pillow when you wake up in the morning, right? So let's not do that. Get yourself a bonnet, get yourself something, anything, protect your hair. Silk pillowcase, I'm talking about any of the things, you know what I'm saying? And in case you're looking for a bonnet, richroyals.com has these cool, completely adjustable bonnets. You're able to squeeze it and open it up. That sounds crazy. You're able to tighten it. Listen, man, you got a little thingamajig up there so you can close and tighten it up how you feel like it. And they're over at richroyals.com, so you know you can. Y'all make me sick, man. Just go get the bonnet. Just go get the bonnet if you need the bonnet. Thank you. You know what I'm saying? So in case you got a big head, you know what I'm saying, you can actually squeeze this right here and it be tight. So you know what I mean? Then you can loosen it up. You can squeeze it in case you got like a little pea head. I know some of y'all pea head folks out there. So, you know what I'm saying? It's a pretty smooth bonnet, you know what I mean? Okay, the last subject I want to talk about before we get you guys out of here is how to trim your ends. How to trim your ends, all right? There's 3 main ways that I've done, that I've performed. There might be others out there, but if you want to do and find out those, then y'all go on their channel. On this channel, we talking about the 3 that I've used in my life. So I'm gonna list them in order of quality, right? When I say quality, I mean not every time that you get a trim are you gonna actually get rid of all the split ends all around your head, right? But not every trim is built the same. So I'm gonna go with the easiest for a lot of you guys out there, because I see so many people getting it, whether it be the Insta-locks or the 2-strand twist, just any type of twist. The easiest thing for you to do if you want to get rid of your split ends and you don't want to have to go through a lot, you don't have to pay somebody extra to do it, is to just literally get one of your twists, get some scissors, and you see those little ends, those little frizzes at the end of your hair, and just snip, 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 snip. and go all around your head and work out the small, you know what I'm saying, little frizzy hairs at the very ends. Only at the ends, not in the middle, not these frizzes up here. You want to go at the very ends, and that will help get a lot of the split ends out. All right, that's a very good method for a very low cost. You don't need anybody to do it. You probably want to be a little bit more hesitant than curious when you're cutting. That means, you know, you much rather cut not enough than cut too little, even though it's gonna grow. But that's one way you can do it, the split end cut. The second way you can do it, which is a little bit easier for my guys that get their hair braided, man. Right before she puts your hair in braids, or right before you braid your own hair, whatever floats your boat, when you blow dry your hair, you have your hair blow dried, put your hair down your back, you know what I'm saying, or section your hair rather. And as you section your hair, let's say you got 4 sections, you pull it all the way out, you know what I'm saying, you get it all together, and then you just go across. You go until you see it gets like thin, you know what I'm saying, until you can see through it. Like if all this hair is like thick or whatever, right? And then you get to the point where you can see through it. Realistically, it shouldn't be a lot of hair. So you shouldn't be doing, you know, 4 and 5 inch chops. It should only be like an inch at most, you know what I mean? Unless you got a lot of split ends and you haven't touched your hair for a while. So you're just trimming maybe a ½ an inch off of the hair that you can see through, snip, and then you do that for your 4 sections when you blow it out. Or you can put it down your back, you know what I'm saying, and you know, she can just go across it. But the last one is something that I use at least once a year. Once a year, I always do what's called a silk press. A silk press, and I blow my hair out bone straight. She put the heat on it, press it, and my hair is literally bone straight, pimp name slick back style. And as my hair is down my back, she goes across evenly and gets every single split end, and she cuts in maybe even a little good hair off to make sure my hair is even, and it just looks black and full and thick and what. Pause. All right, pause. But yeah, man, so it looks really good when I do it that way, and it feels like I got a lot of it out. But one thing I've realized is honestly, there's been some people who've walked me down, man. In terms of hair length, they've walked me down, and I think one of the reasons is not because of deep conditioning, because I deep condition my hair frequently and consistently. It's probably because I only get a trim once a year. So I've been thinking about getting a trim instead of once a year, getting that twice, maybe even 3 times a year, man. So yeah, I say definitely take a look at that. You definitely want to play with how much you get your hair trimmed. Getting it, you know, 4 or 5 times a year, I really don't think that's necessary unless you just got an afro the entire year. But then again, you really wouldn't be, your hair not gonna be growing, you getting a trim 5 times a year, bro. That's just not gonna happen, right? Unless you cutting off a minuscule amount. Then at that point, why even do it? So I don't know, man. You gotta use your best judgment. That's why you gotta know your hair. You gotta really spend time with your hair, know yourself and all that jazz and whatnot, man. But with that being said, man, make sure you drop all your comments, concerns all down in the comment box, man. To all my OGs, just drop a comment and say what up, man. Once again, this is King Brill, and that's all for this video. Peace.